Today I want to talk about a fence. I do. I really do. Fun story. I want to talk about this specific fence. So this fence, some of you may not know this, our family, Andrew and Kimmy, with their two girls, they live in the house directly behind me and Natalie with our kids. So we have these two different houses, and we moved in there first because we're the trendsetters. And when we were there, before Andrew and Kimmy were in our backyard, it was two people we did not know. And there was a big fence, this exact literal fence. This is a piece of the fence that was later removed. So we were sitting there, and we'd always kind of like wonder what's going on behind the fence, because you'd hear noises of you'd hear kids playing. Do they have kids? I wonder how many they have. I don't really know. I can't really see. How many, do they have kids back there? Are they cooking? I can kind of smell something. What is it? You never really know because there is this big fence in the way. So it was kind of fun when they moved in, almost as though God did it himself. The wind came and blew the fence down. So that by the time they moved in there, the fence was already gone. And it was great because as soon as the fence was down, then the second that, Kimmy walks outside and the girls are playing out there and they brought out the kiddie pool. We're still inside of our house looking out the kitchen window, and we can see that clear as day. We know exactly what's going on. We hear, the sound of kids playing. When there's no fence, I can look and see, yes, that's exactly what's going on. I can see you clearly. So what's fun is when the fence... Here we go. I didn't prepare any music today, but Kenny did. I can see clearly now the fence is gone. So with that, thank you, that's good. That was the only thing missing from my message today. So that's the idea, though, that fences, what they do is they divide. They say, this is your side, this is my side. There is a fence. And what fences do, fences divide and they distort. Those are two things that happen. So I'm distorted because I can't really see clearly what's going on over there. And we're on two sides of the fence. So we're not on the same side together in unity. We are now divided. So the reason we talk about a fence is because a fence is a fence. That's what happens. When you get offended with somebody, what happens is in my offense, a figurative fence is placed between us. I'm offended, which means I'm right and you're wrong. I did a good thing and you did a bad thing. I think about this correctly and your thoughts about this are wrong. There is now a fence between us. So not only are we divided, two opposite sides of whatever the thing is, and there's your side and there's my side, and we don't cross anymore. There's also this distortion that happens where when I'm mad at you, we like to straw man each other and be like, well, you're just blah, 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 blah. You're just this, blah, blah, blah. You're not just that. You're a complicated, wonderful mystery of a human being with deep thoughts and emotions, but you become distorted as soon as there is a fence between the two of you. So fences divide and distort. Who do we know, mentioned in the Bible a couple times, that really loves division and distortion? Satan, the enemy, right? The bad guy, the one who comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He's a big fan of division and distortion. So it's important to us to be a healthy Christian community, a family of believers. If unity is something that God loves, disunity and division is something that the enemy loves. And one of the greatest tools for dividing people is offense. So we need to talk about offense. We need to talk about what they are and how to get rid of them because we don't want them here. So we're going to start here in Matthew 24. Jesus talking about the end times, talking about how things will eventually be. This sounds a little like today. Then many will be offended. Do you know anybody these days who's offended or mad about the world and the way that it is, or who runs it, or who's in it, or who's messing it up? Anybody know anybody who's got problems with other people? It's out there. Many will be offended. How many? Everybody. They will betray one another and they will hate one another. Anybody know anyone who hates anybody? Anyone see any hate out there in the world? Does it exist? Okay, well, maybe betrayal exists and maybe offense exists. Maybe this is actually an order. Maybe what happens is when we get offended, we put up a fence, and we say, my side, your side. What's interesting about the word betray means to hand one over to one's enemy. So it's basically saying, hey, we're both on God's territory, but as soon as I draw a fence between us, now I'm on God's territory and the devil can have you. That hit you a little bit? Yeah, I'm turning you over to the enemy. Clearly you don't believe in God, because if you did, you'd still be on my side of the fence. But actually, devil, do what you want with them. They don't get it. They don't get what we're doing here, God. They're just not getting on board with the program. Let them try the devil and see how he has fun over there. We actually push out brothers and sisters in the name of righteousness, right? Believing we're doing the good thing. Because we are right and you are wrong, I must divide a line and cut you out. That's how we have to solve the problem. And then what happens after? They say, wait, no. And it's funny because then on their side, they're saying, wait, I think I'm actually on God's side. And I think I'm actually right about this. Maybe you are handed over to the enemy. I would like to, or the one person actually is wrong, but says, I still want to be on God's side. Can I come back over the fence and can you show me how to do it? No, you've already messed up. You're not allowed back over here. So not only have I handed you over to the enemy, this actually begins to be a hatred situation where hatred is actually, I wish you ill. Now you might think, wow, nobody would ever do that. Hang on a second. How many people do we hear about in a day? Every 30 seconds on the news about this group of people prays for the destruction of this other group of people. Or people that think like that, we should just round them all up and strand them on an island for dead. Like, I wish that you would suffer. That's really what hatred is. And I think if we're honest, it's very, very present in the world. And I think if we're really honest, we've probably all felt it at some point. I'll say, I hope that person gets what they deserve. And that's not what God thinks they deserve. I hope they get what I think they deserve. That's when we start to become God. We start to play that role. And then what happens after that? Many false prophets will rise up and deceive many. What's a false prophet? Prophet is somebody, a spiritual teacher who is trying to make spiritual sense of the way things are and the way things are going to be. False prophets mean they don't have it right. So there's a lot of teachers and voices and influences out there in the world that are saying, this is what's going on right now, but they don't have it right. Why? Because they're offended. They've betrayed their own brothers and sisters, and in fact, they now hate them. So now in the name of God, smite this entire group of people. Wait a second, that's a false prophet. God's not saying that, you're saying that. I don't know what spirit you're talking from, but it's not God's. Why are you doing that on his behalf? He didn't ask you for that. And then lawlessness will abound, because maybe you know this too. When you're right, it justifies any course of action. If y'all have ever heard of the Spanish Inquisition or, older crusades where it was literally murdering people in the name of the Lord. Murder is in the Bible of thou shalt not murder. But if I'm doing it for God, it's okay, right? Lawlessness, the law actually it's now under my self-righteousness. I'm actually above the law now because I have a very important thing to do. I don't have time to do what your law says. I need to go and murder all these people so that we can all be Christians now. Like, wait, hold on. That law was in place for a reason. You're not above the law, you are beneath it. So now you're using unlawful means to try and fulfill the law. That's not how that works. You got that backwards. So this is what happens though, but it all begins with offense. It begins with these fences and these dividing lines we draw between each other. So let's move on. So offense, and this is where we're going to start having some fun, everybody. Offended, the word for that is skandalon. Sounds kind of fun, right? Like a scandal, right? It's just, whoa, juicy, offensive, exciting. Oh, what's the dirt? What's the tea? So skandalon is a scandal, but here's the fun thing. The way that translates in Greek is a trap or a snare. Isn't that interesting? Scandalon, so offense is scandalizo, which is I'm going to cause someone else to stumble, is actually how that translates. I'm going to try and trip you up, is what the offender does. And the offended is caught in a trap or a snare. You're stuck. It's kind of funny because you think about like, well, I'm offended and now I feel like I have all this self-righteous anger and I got to go prove them right and I got to go prove my innocence and I got to make them see things the right way they're doing. You're actually stuck. You might not even know it. You're trapped. And you may have it too where if you've been offended before, like, or there's relationships in our life where we've, years have gone by and tries we made to resolve the offense. It's just not happening. And it's almost like our progression, our relationship, our emotions, they're all still stuck in 5 years ago. Like, we'd see each other today and lots of things happened and lots of things have changed and we're all there. But the offense has us stuck 5 years ago in the same pain and emotions and feelings and distortion that we've had all the way from the beginning. We've been stuck this whole time. You may think of like, well, but I've been trying to prove them right and I'm actually mad at them and I'm shooting bombs at them, throwing grenades over the fence. But it's actually us who is stuck. Because that's what happens to these things. And it's fun, too, when you think about what is an offense. So in Greek, it's skandalon, skandalon, so trap or a snare. In English, an offense is a breach of law. You broke the law, right? You're a repeat offender. You've done something illegal, an illegal act. So when somebody does something that we think is against the law, we are offended. You have broke the law. You have offended the law. And really what's funny is we don't usually get offended by things that are God's law. We get offended by things that are our laws. We have these internal beliefs about how things should be. My kids should respect me, and my wife should prepare dinner for me every day and smile and love it the whole time, whether she's a good cook or not. My kids should behave immediately the first time I tell them something. My friends should plan me a party on my birthday, right? We have this internal rule, and you might say, well, one person maybe has that rule, but another person might not. And we have all these different internal laws of what should be and shouldn't be. And we get offended when somebody acts in a way that we think they should not have done that. And that is now a personal offense to me. And we kind of all live in this moral gray area where what's right, what's wrong, how should it be, how shouldn't it be? When somebody messes that up, we try to punish them for that. So I did something fun this week. I did not prepare a song. That one was a bonus. But I prepared something a little bit different to try and show us what it really looks and feels like to get caught in this trap of Skandalon. We actually have a video for you now to demonstrate that.
Oh, what's up, Kenny? Hey, man. Kenny, what's up, my dude? How's it, Hey, Kenny, how's it going? Kenny, hey. Kenny. Huh. What? What? Yeah, you know what? That's exactly what he's doing. Whoa!
That concludes this week's guided meditation. Next week...
Oh, hey, man. How's it hanging?
Oh, and what's that supposed to mean?
I mean,
What?
You're hanging upside down from a tree.
Yeah, whatever. Get over it. Gosh.
You just seem a little uncomfortable. I wanted to check in and see how you're doing.
Yeah, okay, like you would care. Sure.
I do care. That's why I asked.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm fine, all right?
Okay, are you sure?
Yes.
All right. Are you going to be at Andrew and Kimmy's later?
I don't know, maybe.
All right. Well, hope to see you there. Love you, man.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
That guy's an idiot.
It's not a song. It's something better. Yeah, I couldn't help, my mind could not help but run away with that idea. Also, when we were filming that video, we got some weird looks from some neighbors. We really did. And there was one point, a guy was riding his bike down the street, and he just, with locked gaze, was just staring as I'm upside down a tree. And as I'm up there, I was going, howdy, neighbor. And he just kept on biking. You didn't see anything. So, anyways, I hope you appreciated that. That's the picture we're trying to paint, though, right? So who wound up in the trap? Was it the offender or the offended? The offended, the Skandalon, right? The person was caught in a trap or a snare. Myself, as soon as Kenny did not respond the way I thought he should have responded, when I waved to you, you waved back because we're friends. When you broke that rule, you broke the law, now I am offended. What happens? I'm trapped. He's not trapped. He didn't even know that it happened. He was listening to his guided meditation. But now me on the other side, I'm trapped. And when he comes over, there's now a fence between us. And was it because of something he did, or was it because of something I decided in my own heart? I trapped myself. That's what happened. I'm stuck now because I made a judgment. I decided that you broke the law, you have offended me. But here's the thing, offense is going to happen all of the time. There's always going to be opportunities to get offended. But offense is a moment. Offended is a choice. A moment, Kenny, he didn't wave back. He didn't wave back, huh? That was an offense. You broke a rule or an expectation that I had in my heart. Whether or not I choose to get offended and stay that way, that's the moment. Here we are, everybody. Here we are. Our piggy's back. Piggy's back. Piggy's right here. Piggy's right here. He's outside the trap. And we say, oh, Kenny didn't say hi to you. What? He didn't say hi to you. He hates you. He's mad at you. You're better than him. He doesn't act like a good friend should. You're a good friend. You would never do that. You're a great person. He's a bad person. Oh, take the bait. Trapped. Don't take the bait, right? That's the end of it at the line there. And what is the bait, I wonder? Bacon. All right, I want to teach about something that we can avoid. All right? I don't want to teach about something that's going to get us every time. Let's be realistic here. So first one point I want to make, I skipped something. Luke 17:1, New King James. Then he said to the disciples, it is impossible that no offenses should come. But woe to him through whom they come. So again, the idea of like, wow, getting stuck and bound. I really hope that doesn't happen to me. Bad news. It's impossible that no offenses should come, which means that this is a trap we are going to see hundreds of thousands of times in our lifetime. The offenses are coming. They're there. The enemy's out there. He's probably got 10 waiting for you between here and your home. He left a few in your car. He left a few in your bedroom. He left a few on your desk at work. Like he's just waiting for you to take the bait because as soon as you snatch that, bam, we're bound. The enemy's got you. You're stuck. How righteous do you act when you're offended? That's a fun question. How much grace and compassion do you have for the one who offended you? You mean this criminal who broke the law and doesn't understand how decent people ought to act? How kind are you to that person? Right? When you're offended, very hard to display the fruits of the Spirit and act as Christ would to the offender, right? We're stuck. We can't do it. We can't be Jesus when we're bound like that, right? We got to get freedom in order to actually do that. So let's move on. What is the bait? What is the bait? It's this self-righteous outrage that we get. If we're honest, we actually get worked up, right? The anger, the heart starts peeping, the blood goes red, the face gets flushed. We get worked up about this anger. It's a self-righteous anger. Let me just read a statement. Tell me if this sounds familiar. I'm just doing what Christians are supposed to do. I'm seeking out sin and destroying it with my laser beams of holy justice. Just blowing up bad guys for the Lord. Feels so good that I am on the side of righteousness. I feel so strong when I get the humble privilege of administering divine judgment on these crooked, sinful worms. He used to smite people himself, but now I get to co-labor with God in destroying his wretched children. That just sounds wrong in every way, right? That's like the worst possible distortion of righteousness, of Christianity. Like it's wrong. But when we're offended, that's how it feels. I got to go tell everybody how wrong and awful and terrible they are, right? That's not the fruits of the Spirit. That's not the love of Jesus. Josh did such a great job talking about this last time. We talked about the woman caught in adultery, an obvious offender. Everyone was standing around the circle. Yes, she's wrong. We got one. Let's stone her. Let's kill her. You want to do it? You want to throw the first stone? I don't know. I think I got a pretty good arm. I found a good stone, right? They're all hyping each other up. We found an offender. It's time to deliver justice. And what does Jesus do? The only one actually sinless, the only one actually qualified with the authority to throw a stone chooses to do what? As Josh did, stoops down, humbles himself, gets on her level, talks with her, has compassion. So let me understand you for a second. Let me encourage you, actually. That's a different response, but we're all sitting here just waiting to throw stones. Just give me a target. Give me something to hit. Because then as soon as I have a target, you're on that side of the fence, I'm on this side of the fence. I get to express my cathartic, self-righteous outrage. You get to be punished. I feel great about myself because clearly in this situation, I'm the good guy and you're the bad guy. But isn't that judgment? Isn't that us doing what God's supposed to do? It says that he's going to separate the goats and the sheep. It says that he's the only one that can judge man's heart. Why are we trying to do it? And not only are we trying to be the judge, we're trying to be the jury and the executioner. We were never told to be the executioner, the one who's meant to actually execute the judgment on somebody. No. But here's a funny thing. There is this term that's been coined recently, and it's called outrage addiction. Psychologists have been noticing this trend. I think it's probably a lot to do with Twitter, just internet culture in general, but I think it's also the division of people. We'll say things to people on the internet we would never say to them in their face. You know, you can insult somebody in the most visceral and comical and satirical way, but you never get to see their face weep after those words, so let's just keep saying it. No consequences, right? We just start pouring out this hatred, this bitterness, this judgment. And what happens is we actually get addicted to being outraged. There is actually that adrenaline pumping feeling that we get when we're all fired up about something. Let's fight, let's go to war, right? But there's the safety of being online about it. But the problem is we get addicted to it. We feel like we have the moral high ground. We feel great about ourselves, and we have a target to draw our attention away from our own issues, and we focus it on somebody else's issues. We feel like we have the liberty to destroy people as long as they're the bad guys and we're the good guys. But that's not healthy. So how do we avoid the trap? That's what I'd like to talk about today, because again, it's impossible that no offenses should come. They're coming. How do we avoid the trap? How do we see it and just keep on walking? We're not going to bother with this thing. How do we do that? A couple things. First, check your diet. I don't mean your literal food diet. I mean your spiritual, emotional, mental diet. Yep, Facebook has gotten, and YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and everything, have gotten so good about feeding you not only what you've already asked for, but feeding you what they know is going to get you. You know, if it's bait, if offense is bait, then if my job as a social media platform or news network is to keep viewers watching, if I can hook them with offense, they're trapped. I got them. You're going to keep coming back. You want to hear the rest of the story. What are they doing today? What new lies have they told? Who have they just blasted on there? They have a crazy opinion about what? This ex-general's trans daughter just said what about PETA? Like, you're just going to find ways to be like, some way to be offended by something, right? And then as soon as you take the bait once, they're going to give you more and more and more and more. Check your diet. What are you eating? You're feasting on outrage. You're getting yourself worked up. You're getting yourself fired up. Yes, they are bad. Yes, they are terrible. Yes, I do hate those people. I hope God destroys those people. They are a purge that must happen is remove them. God smite them. We're getting worked up because we're just feeding ourselves on all of this. It's not healthy. So a fun thing too, 2 Timothy 4 verse 3. This is fun. You might say, wow, the devil's really good at forcing that stuff on us. Wait a second. 2 Timothy 4:3. For the time will come when people will not put up with sound doctrine, truth. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. If I'm looking for something online, if I'm really honest, most of the time it's like, hey, here's a new divisive issue that's come up, a new very hot topic that's being debated amongst the world. I don't usually look for like, please present to me an objective and biblical presentation of both sides so that I may pray about it and discern which way is truly right. It's more about like, I already know what I want. Let's look at this side only and let's listen to them characterize and belittle and reduce the other side, because I want to hear what I want to hear. It doesn't say false teachers are going to trick you, and they do that, but it says we're actually going to heap up false teachers for ourselves. We crave it. We want it. We don't want the health, the broccoli of truth. We want the Doritos of judgment, right? Just feed me the easy stuff that makes me feel good and gets me all worked up and fun. I want another dopamine hit, right? We don't want the broccoli of truth. We want the Doritos of offense. And if we're honest, we actually crave it. We feed it to ourselves. Yes, the enemy is pushing it. The algorithm is working its very best to keep you offended, keep you stuck on their platform, locked into their news network. But if we're honest, I think we also ask for it too. The message in that same verse says you're going to find that there will be times when people will have no stomach for solid teaching, but will fill up on spiritual junk food. I didn't coin that. That's the Message Bible. They thought of that one for me. Catchy opinions. Woo, catchy opinions. What is an opinion? Well, this is my judgment on the matter. Just somebody's judgment. Catchy opinions. Clickbait. That tickle their fancy. They'll turn their backs on truth and chase mirages. You'll invent an image of something that you can point a finger at when actually that thing doesn't exist. The straw man you've created to cast stones at actually isn't real. It only exists in your own head. What are you doing? But outrage feels better than truth most of the time. So let's move on. Second thing, how do we avoid the trap? Well, I should probably say too. The answer to that one too, check your diet. Also, get some good truth. Now, you know what? I'm going to answer this in the next point. Let's just keep moving. So second, check your impulse. What do I mean by impulse? Impulse defined as a strong, sudden, and I love this. This is the dictionary preaches. I'm telling you. Impulse is a sudden, strong, and unreflective urge or desire to act. Means I don't think about it. I just do it. It's just my first instinct. It's my impulse. It's just I hop right in there and do that. And it's great. Proverbs loves this concept. James 1:19. Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. That impulse, that unreflective urge. Oh, I want to jump in there. Why slow before you open that mouth? You don't know what's going to come out of it, but it probably was not something you reflected on. Slow to anger. Proverbs 29:20. Do you see a man who's hasty in his words? There's more hope for a fool than for him. We just talked about this fool, right? That's hasty speak. I actually have more hope for a foolish person than someone who just says the first thing out of their mouth. That unreflective urge. Wait a second. Whoa, let God get in there for a second. If it's coming out of you that fast, odds are you haven't talked to God about it. You heard something. I immediately have a judgment about this. Whoa, 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 whoa. If you got accused for a crime you didn't commit, and you said, okay, please come to the stand. Guilty. Well, wait, can I testify? I have a few witnesses. Can they speak? I have evidence. Can I lay that out? No, I've already decided. You're guilty. Don't be so quick to judge. That's bad judgment. Your first reaction is probably not your best one. Ephesians 4, verses 26 and 27. And this is the thing. We talk about, be slow to anger. But here's the thing. Ephesians 4 actually says, go ahead and be angry. It says you'll do well to be angry. So anger itself is not a bad thing. It's what we do with anger that makes it a good or a bad thing. For instance, you do well to be angry. Anger itself is not bad, but don't use your anger as fuel for revenge. That betrayal, that punishment, that judgment. Don't use it that way. And don't stay angry. If you're angry, that's a sign you need to say something or do something. That's not something you're meant to live with. If anger's there, it's there because you need to act about something. You need to do something. But don't let it fuel revenge. Don't just do the first thing your anger says to do. Pause, check that impulse, talk to God about it, pray about it. But if you're angry, also don't ignore it. There's something that needs to be said right there. And it says, don't give the devil that kind of foothold in your life. And this is funny too. That foothold, I think about, so all of our kids, I think most of all William, the day he learned how to figure out a step stool, everything in the house became dangerous. Everything we were able to set up on the counter out of his reach was like, oh yeah, here's a sharp knife, and here's scissors, and here's a lighter, whatever it is, like all of the wonderful, dangerous things. Here's some rat poison we're just going to leave on the counter, whatever it is. He was never able to get it, but as soon as he had a foothold, slides up that step stool. Now I have a foothold. Now I have a way. Or there's one sideways drawer with a sideways handle. He's figured out how to wedge his foot in there and then use that to pull himself up. Once he has a foothold, he can access things he's not supposed to access. Don't give the devil a foothold in your life. If you're offended, he's got, the step stool is right there. I can't reach this. I can't reach your righteousness, your peace, your joy. It's out of reach, but you're offended? Ooh, here we go. Now I got it. Now I got all I need. He can get the whole thing. Don't give him that kind of foothold. And here's another fun thing. Proverbs 18:2. A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. What's an opinion? It's just my judgment on the matter. I just want to share my judgment. Do you understand the topic we're actually talking about? No, I've already made my decision. Here's my catchy opinion on the matter. Wait. A fool just wants to express his opinion, which means that a wise person does take pleasure in understanding. They would actually like to know the details. Why do people want open borders? Well, that's so ridiculous. No. I just want to understand it. I might not agree with you, but I just want to understand it. Why? I want my understanding. I don't want to just share my opinion. Tell me. Well, young people aren't going to church anymore. Well, that's because they're blah, blah, blah. No, hold on. Before we get to the judgment part, why aren't young people going to church anymore? Can we ask them? Do we understand their objections or their concerns or their issues, their struggles? Do we have understanding? Because we shouldn't jump to our opinion before we have understanding, because a fool just wants to share his opinion. Wise person wants to understand it. So check your impulse. When you feel like you're offended about something, don't be a judge, be a student. Learn. If you're offended about something did something that just makes no sense to you, okay, make it make sense. Ask them about it. Why? I just can't imagine why they would do that. You don't have to imagine. Ask them. They'll tell you, right? Ask them. Don't be a judge. Be a student. Just talk to me about this one. We might get to the end of a 3-hour conversation. I still disagree with you, but at least I know where you're coming from, and I can have compassion for you. I don't just have judgment, and I'm not just trying to beat you to death with the right answer. I can actually just say, okay, I get why you see it that way. I disagree, but I get it. I can actually still engage in compassion. And then that last point I want to make here is to check your circle. So again, news, social media, internet, it's all going to feed us stuff, offenses. They're throwing it at us because they learned it's good bait. But also check your circle. Again, Josh talking last week, woman caught in adultery. All those people were hyping each other up. Yes, let's all do this. Let me encourage you towards judgment. Do you need a stone? I have 2. Have one of mine, right? Like we sometimes fire each other up in our judgment for other people. But here's the thing, Proverbs 13:20, walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. A great standard is my circle wise or are they fools? A good question is what we just talked about. Do your friends want understanding, or are they just firing you up and feeding the fuel? Well, somebody just hurt my feelings. Yeah, you're the worst. I can't believe they would do that. You should, blast them on Instagram, go egg their house, whatever. Wait, do you even understand the problem? What if it was actually just a misunderstanding? Like, what if I'm actually just fueling your revenge and feeding the flames of your anger instead of helping you be like, pause for a second, check your impulse, check your diet. What are you thinking about right now? Have you talked to them about this? Before you go and blast revenge and start spreading gossip, can you just talk to them, make sure you have this right? A wise friend is going to push you towards understanding, towards grace, towards reconciliation. A foolish friend is just going to stoke the flames. Just fun to watch it burn, right? We got to check our circle. Because a fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing their opinion. So what if you have taken the bait? What if it's too late? Oh, no. Piggy's been in here for 3 years, and he does not know how to get out, right? I got offended. There's 3 people I can think of today that have offended me that I'm currently holding on tight. I can't believe it did this to me. We're already stuck. How do we get out? Here's the thing. Forgiveness is freedom. Forgiveness is freedom. I want to go to Matthew 5. 23 through 26. Therefore, if you're offering your gift at the altar, you're in church. It's middle tithes and offering. Oh, I'm doing such a good job tithing. My spiritual disciplines are healthy. I'm giving with joy. I love the Lord. Oh, but that guy, yeah, we are still fighting. I really shouldn't have said that thing that I did over there. Or maybe even he said something to me he shouldn't have said. Whatever that is. You're in the middle of it. You're in your spiritual powerhouse place. You're at your healthiest and most righteous moment. He says, if you're right there at that time, leave. And you remember that your brother or sister has something against you. Leave your gift there, right at the altar, and go and be reconciled. Then come back and offer your gift. What that says to me is like, but church is so important. And what if I'm praising the Lord and I'm hearing wonderful things for him, and I'm in my position of service, whatever it is, like, I know. The point is that reconciliation is more important. It's more important. We have to learn to prioritize it correctly. If there is an offense, we got to address it. We have to talk about it. It says, go to the one you offended. Leave your gift there. Go and be reconciled to them. If you're offering a gift, you remember that they have something against you. So whether they offended you, or it says differently in Matthew 18, if you offended them, it doesn't matter. That you'd say, well, they should talk to me first. Well, but they made the mistake, or I made the mistake. I should talk to them first. What the Bible says is it doesn't matter whether you are the offender or the offended. Talk about it. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. What matters is you reconcile. It doesn't matter who's right. We don't need the fence. Because truth be told, if there's righteousness and unrighteousness, if I'm trying to elevate myself to judge and I'm trying to lower you to the status of criminal, there's a fence. We're on two different fields. And if you're trying to be the judge of me, lowering me to the status of criminal, we're not seeing eye to eye. But if we remember, what if we're actually both under the same judge? We're both imperfect. We both have things to work on. And I think we both need to understand each other because there's actually only one judge who's above both of us. So let's stop fighting like we're both judges, and let's remember that neither of us are. And it's actually both of our jobs to become more like Jesus. And the only one who knows how to be like Jesus is Jesus. So we should both lower ourselves beneath him and let him correct both of us. We're actually on the same side. We're on the same playing field. This is not a who's better than who and who's more right. It's like we're both got something to learn here. There's something wrong between us. Let's work it out. Let's come back together in unity. Yeah, in verse 25, Matthew 5:25, settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. He's already taken you to court about this. He says, do it while you're still together on the way. Or your adversary may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison. Truly, I tell you, you will not get out until you've paid the last penny. He's saying, if you know what? We can't figure this thing out. I'm taking you to court. Let's go to court. You want to go to court? I'm going to take you to court. Okay, let's go to court. He's saying, as you're stomping your way over to court, mad at each other, saying hey, before we get there, should we just try and work this? Hold on. Doors are right there. Pause one more second. When you said this, why did you say it like that? Oh, it's because I'm actually going through something really hard right now. You're very insensitive about that. Wait, you're going through I didn't even know. Oh, it's good? Oh, I didn't understand. Oh, okay, good, great. That's great. We never had to even enter the courthouse. We figured it out before we even got there because here's the deal. There's two ways to resolve an offense like this. It's through law or through grace. If you do it through law, we've got court fees. We got to bring in the judge and the jury, and the officers got to be there. We got to do all the paperwork. We got to go through this long process. You're both going to pay a ton of money, and one of you is going to wind up in jail. The other one of you is going to wind up free, or it might even not work out that way. Maybe the innocent one gets put in prison because it's really hard to get a grip on these things. Grace, on the other hand, is saying, you're free, I'm free. And you can't actually... again, forgiveness is not about freeing the other person. You're letting them go, but you're freeing yourself from the trap. I've been stuck on this for so long. You know what? I'm not going to take you to court. I'm not going to punish you. I'm not going to get my revenge. I'm not going to get worked up about it at all. In fact, I'm just going to drop it. And now what happens? I'm free. I don't need to go to court to prove it. I'm already free. I stand under God. He knows my heart. I've forgiven you. I'm not going to judge you. You're not going to play judge. I'm just going to be free. I'm out. Go ahead. Do whatever you want. Fine. If you want to talk about it, I'm here to talk about it. But I'm not going to hold this offense against you anymore because it's keeping me stuck. So if you have the choice between law or grace, grace is always the better option. If you can just find a way to talk about it, understand each other, check that impulse, settle down for a second, and just learn from each other. Grace is always the better option. And Romans 12, 17 through 21 says, don't repay anyone evil for evil. So even if they did do a bad thing, they're guilty. Yes, they did do a wrong. That was wrong. They never should have done that. Don't repay evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. If it's possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. I can't make them apologize, but I can. I can't make them calmly listen and hear me out, but I can do that for them. And maybe if I demonstrate that, we'll make some progress, even if only one of us is getting that memo. Don't take revenge, but leave room for God's wrath. There's one judge. It's mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord. We'll skip the rest of that. Yeah, and the last thing I want to share, Proverbs 19:11. Good sense makes one slow to anger, and it is his glory to overlook an offense. I love this. There's so much hidden in those two lines right there. God is glorified when someone says, evil, cynicism, offense, I've broken the law, I've sought to wound you. And you say, you know what, never mind. You're good. I'm just going to go the other way now. They go, what? They even say forgiveness is heaping coals on somebody else's head like that. When you realize, you don't have power over me. You're trying to trap me. You're trying to do this offense thing. You want me to get all offended and stuck. I'm not going to do it. I'm free. Whether you like it or not, I'm free. And I'm going to walk out of here. It doesn't matter how offended you are, what you did. Fine, keep it. You stole my stuff? Cool. Keep it. I don't care anymore. You're suing me? Fine. All right, cool. I don't even care. Right? It's just when you demonstrate that you're above it, that's coals on there saying, you're still trapped. I'm going to go be free, though. I'm going to offer grace. And why can we offer grace? Because we've received grace. We got it first, so we have it to give it. So let's be a people that forgive. Let's be a people unhindered by Skandalon, bound up. Let's truly just be free. Let's not get offended with each other. Let's not let these fences divide us and distort us. Let's actually maintain a spirit of unity in the body of Christ by, instead of punishing people for offending us, we actually just ask them, hey, what happened right there? Let's bring it back together. We don't have to be divided. Let's just bring it right on back together. And let's let God be the judge and give each other the same grace we have been given.